Awesome! Wow! I still get those moments where even when I hear people like Gary say lovely words, it's still not always easy to go, oh yeah, that's me. And I'm quite small in stature as well, but I just absolutely love being here, and thank you, Gary, for having me and some of our team with us today. So, what I really loved about the first couple of speakers is the banter that we have in Northern Ireland. Like, I speak a lot in America and Canada and all different places, and I come out with some of the best jokes. Nobody gets them. And when you say, what's the crack? Nobody has a clue. So it's been really fun tonight just to be able to kind of understand on that kind of banter aspect. But the main thing that we're here tonight to talk about is self-belief. And what an incredible topic. One that I definitely have told Gary I need a lot more than 15 minutes on. But Ben, I think you definitely went over, so I'm taking the same amount. So what I would say to you guys, first and foremost, is what is it that you're here for? Like, genuinely, really ask yourself, why did you even come here tonight? What was it to gain? Was it just to mix with other people and have a night out and feel positive? Or are you here because you really need to hear something? Or you perhaps need to just get, maybe it's a decision, maybe you're looking for something. I believe, just like what Ben was talking about, I believe you attract everything in your entire life. I don't even believe it, I have a knowingness of it because that's what I've spent the last 6 years studying. And 6 years ago, I was not the person that is standing here before you. I was probably just like this, I would not look at you. I was actually a clinical nurse specialist. I worked in Untitled Hospital just up the road, and I specialised with young people in adolescence. Loved it, but I got very caught in kind of what we've heard other people saying, get a good education, be really smart. I laughed when Gary said at the start, there's some really educated and smart people out there. He ain't talking about me. But I was taught by my mum and dad and everybody else. I came from Lurgan. So I mean, guys, no offense, sorry Daddy. I really started out at a lower level. And I was taught all these things, get a good education, get your grades. If you get a good government job, you are landed. So I did what I was told, and I went to Queen's, and I did my nursing. I hated every minute of it. I actually tried to get kicked out by not completing the exams. But you're not allowed to do that because Queens don't get paid until you've qualified. So they get quite strict on you. So I kind of went through that, got a job, and it was okay. I loved what I did. I had such huge, incredible purpose for young people here with mental health. But there was always a part of me when I was sitting in my office in Untitled Hospital, looking out the window. I remember there was trees just like this, and I used to just sit. And I knew there was something more. And I was also very miserable back then. I was in a really toxic relationship. I didn't have much money. Yes, I had a good government job, but we all know when it goes out, you're waiting until the last of the month to get the next payday. That's how I lived. And yes, Dad told me to save money, but I didn't. So I was always kind of just coming to the end of the month, hoping and praying that it would be enough. And guess what? It always was, because you get what you think about. So that went on for I think I was in nursing for 9.5 years. And I just got to the point where I'm miserable. I hated myself. I actually then went down the path of fitness and thought, well, if I go down the road and get into the Ulster Hall and do a bodybuilding competition, then I will love me. Once I get a six-pack and look gorgeous, people will love me. So I went down that path. I'm very kind of, give me, I will go at it. And I got the six-pack, and I won Miss Northern Ireland 2014. Don't look up the pictures. And I was standing with this trophy. Everybody's screaming, everybody's going, whoa. And I still was looking for that stamp of validation. I still had this knowingness that there was something more. I I still didn't really love me. I still, when people would give me compliments, I would be so angry inside. Somebody would say, oh, you look well. It could have even been my partner at the time. See, the thing was, I thought it was all their fault. And it wasn't. I didn't love me, so of course nobody was going to love me. Of course nobody was going to treat me right. Because that's what I was thinking about myself. I did not know that. I was still blame, blame, blame. It's mom and dad's fault. It's the NHS's fault. It's my partner's fault. There was no responsibility. Because I was never taught how to take responsibility. I didn't even know what that meant. I just was always told I didn't have it. So that was a very kind of dark road until, and I'm not going to go through the whole story because I want to actually share some value with you tonight, but the reason I tell you this is similar to the rest of the guys. We all have stories. And I think you can make your story into your greatest gift, the hard times, the good times. But I found myself where I had £4.20 in my pocket and standing on the Boucher Road in Petser Home. And I couldn't afford dog food. And it was really just a moment where I went, what is going on? I'm a professional. I have a job. I have a car. I have a house. I've done everything. Why am I in this position? Why am I so stuck? Why do I keep going around in these cycles? Having to use a credit card to go on a holiday and maybe get the annual leave off. Like, it was just repetitive, repetitive, repetitive. Why did I continue to not like me? Why did I continue to attract partners in my life who all seemed to be the same in different bodies? Because they all didn't treat me the way I thought, it should be. So there was these repetitive cycles, and what I've learned in 6 years of having totally and utterly transformed my life is that everything that represents you will represent to you. And what I made a decision just 6 years and a couple of months ago was in the Boucher Road when I seen the £4.20. It was that moment where you're hurting so much inside, but I really kind of flittered from pain, anger, I'm making this change. I will never be in this place again. So I had no idea what that meant. I'm from Northern Ireland. You don't listen to all these American things. Tony Robbins, love him, get him now, but back then my dad would have said it was some weird cult. So I didn't know what to do, who to turn to. Also, I'm a mental health nurse, band 7, kind of supposed to know the mind. And I'm going, I'm not happy. So similar, I started YouTubing. I looked up everything, how to be positive. I wasn't really into the positive thing. It seemed a bit kind of like woohoo. And then came along Mr. Bob Proctor. And from the moment that I heard Bob Proctor speak, I knew I'm going to be your #1 and I'm going to teach this all over the world. And I had no idea how that would be possible. I actually seen it when I was on the treadmill in the gym, and I near fell off because here was a man saying, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to work hard. You can actually start to think yourself into results and think yourself into riches like Napoleon Hill has talked about. Dan mentioned a quote, which is actually the very quote of my business logo. It's a vibration where it says, if you can see it in your mind, you hold it in your hand. Well, back then when I started, I used to come to events like this in Belfast all the time to set up. I never knew if people were going to turn up. I just really hoped that they would. And I used to come and I trained with Bob and I started to teach this material. And I started to apply it to my life at the same time. And from 6 years now, I have multiple multi-million-dollar companies, multi-million-pound companies too. And I say that, and I love that we're able to talk about results, because the key about self-belief is it's never about the things. It's never about the money, but money allows you to do bigger and better things and help more people. And that's a really passionate topic of mine, especially here in our country, because nobody wants to talk about money, yet everybody wants more of it. And when we think about self-belief, the thoughts that I have, and I had none, now I have lots. And I'll have more the more that I go out and achieve my goals. And that's why I asked you as we started, why are you here? Because, as one of my friends says, we're not here to tickle your ears. I don't really want to motivate you or inspire you or get you to go, oh, she was really good and he was brilliant, I love that, and go home with your notes, because you know fine rightly nothing will change. And I don't say that to depress you, I say it because think back how many times have you read a book, watched a video, done something, and you're like, yes, and then 3 days later it's, maybe, might do that. It kind of seemed like a good idea at the time. But then, when you start to think, what do I really want? Not a goal to get something, but a purpose of a goal is growth. When I listened to Ben, when I listened to Steve, it was all desire. It was all love. It was all a burning desire. And I believe love is the most important thing. Most important driver of everything. I think love equals level of vibrational energy. And why do I say that? Because when we talk about self-belief, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, what is self? Who am I? I think about that for a second. If you take your name away, you take your title away, you take your mum hat away, or whatever you do, take all those hats off, and I ask you, who are you? Do you have a really good answer on that? Most people don't, and that's not your fault. But then how on earth can you ever work on self-belief when you don't even know who yourself is? And what I know about you, without even having to know any of you, is that you've got unlimited potential within you, because we're actually all the same. We just all think differently. And yet we all have the same potential power that works to and through us. Now, that can sometimes sound like, ooh, there she goes, into the universe, you know? But just stop and think about it, because until you can tell me why it doesn't work, then I think people should really open up their minds to this. I know that we're more than our body. Your body's just a mass of molecules. It literally just does what you tell it to do. You are way more than what you think. And the truth is, it's not who you think you are that holds you back, it's who you think you're not. If we would let go of all the things that, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that, we just let that go, you would create a vacuum for all the good things to come in. But we give all the attention to what we don't want. And when we do that, fueled with a feeling of possible negativity, like I'm not good enough, I don't think I can do this. What if I go for my goal and I miss? You're giving energy to the topic, which is negative. You are going to get that right back to you. How many times, maybe you do want to improve your life, your relationships, your health, your finances. How many times have you then started to think about how you would like to feel? How many times do you talk inwardly, oh yeah, I like me? Or is it when somebody gives you a compliment, you literally reverse it in your mind and say, no, or liar, or no, this whole thing, no, this is rubbish. I just threw this on. No, you didn't. Like we minimize ourselves. Why? Well, that takes me on to the second word, and that is belief. What is a belief? A belief is a thought that you've continued to think long enough that it has solidified into a belief. Now, here's the difference between thoughts and beliefs. Okay, like just maybe try and remember this fact. Your thoughts only control 2 to 4% of what you actually do. Your beliefs control 96 to 98% of what you actually do. This is why so many times you might be able to resonate. You think about doing something, and then you don't. I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning, I am doing it, my clothes are laid out, this is it, this is my time. And morning comes and you roll over or hit the snooze button or do whatever you've always done. There's this disharmony, as we would call it. And that's because what we know to do and what we actually do are two totally different things. And it's your belief system about you, it's your beliefs around money, it's your beliefs around health, it's your beliefs around any given topic that is really what is dictating what's coming to you in life. You could also think of it like your attitude. Your attitude to life is what attitude, or life's attitude to you will be. So, in self-belief, you need to first understand you. And you're not going to walk out of here tonight knowing that, as good as all of the speakers are put together. But what I hope to leave for you is for you to start asking better questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? Because sometimes what happens with the belief section, as I said, it controls 96 to 98%. That's the part that's called your subconscious mind. You have a little self-image in there. That's where your self-belief is really resident. And it's kind of like a thermostat, and it clicks on and off. And you always have a set point for what you earn, even your body, there's all different parameters in your life. You have a set point. That's why I know I've done it, go to the gym, train, not eat, and yes, your body will release some weight, but what always happens? Suddenly the hand's in the cookie jar. Suddenly you're back to that same number. Or you just can't get past this. Or if you're in business and you're in sales, you just can't break through that seamlessly ceiling that seems to be there. Or you keep getting stuck at the same amount. That is your set point. That is resident in your subconscious mind. It's a belief. And no matter how hard you try to work, no matter how many jobs you get, I did overtime, I did all sorts of, I even did medical research. I mean, that's how bad it was. I did all these things to get more money, but I never had any more money. Because when I did overtime, when I lost weight, suddenly something happened. The tires need change, something happened, the money would go again. So what I'm saying is, if that resonates with you, if you feel that there's a pull between your head and your heart sometimes, then this is all in your self-belief. And it's something you can change. That's what Bob taught me in 6 years. That's what helped me totally transform my life, because I was able to figure out who I am, where I am, and where I'm going. So my last 3 points that I would say to take away with you tonight to, I suppose, start this journey. And for most of you, it won't be starting. But I always like to think of myself like I'm starting. I always like to think of myself as a student. And as I tell my clients, I always see myself as still stuck, because there's no end to what you can actually create. And that just becomes the point of life. You're not here to get a job, to pay your taxes, to die. You're here to live. And the best way that you can live is to have a purpose and express that in a goal. The goal is never to get, the goal is for growth. All the things that I've now achieved, which were once written in books, and you couldn't have imagined it, but I did. And I have all the books of everything I've written, I now have, and now I'm writing more books for all this other stuff that's still on its way to me. And all it took was just to start and think differently. And that's what this is all about. And that's not taught at school. So the 3 things that I would say to you, and Bob shared these with me, as you may or may not know, he passed just at the start of the year. And I'm so grateful to have been his top student, by his side, with him. I was just with him in November time. And 3 things that he always said to me, which is really helpful. Kim, it is what it is. Accept it. When something happens in your life, do not react to it. Learn to respond. Learn to go, that's outside of me. I'm not saying that's easy, but it's possible. He said, it is what it is. Accept it. It either controls you or you control it. Second one, harvest the good. What that means is, in every situation in our life, there will always be negatives and positives. That's, again, the laws of the universe. There's a law of polarity. So you're not always just, I don't have this beautiful, seamless, woo, it's always amazing. Things go wrong all the time, and I love it. I get stuck, I get afraid, I love it. But what Bob said was, harvest the good. Just only look at the good side about it. If something happens and it's really negative, here's the really cool thing. If it's negative, it must also be positive. That's just the laws of our entire universe. You look at a battery, you'll see a positive and a negative sign. You've got an up, you've got a down, you've got an on, you've got an off. Inside, outside. Without polarity, there would be nothing. So why I'm sharing that with you is if you have a really bad day, it means you can have a really good day. And there's always something good in it, so harvest the good. And then the third one, forgive the rest. If there's one massive part of what I do when I'm helping people really skyrocket their results, get out of their own way, it's you've got to forgive and let go. And sometimes the person you need to forgive the most is yourself. Sometimes the person you have to forgive is a family member, possibly somebody that's no longer here. I'll leave you with one analogy. I'm pretty big for my analogies if you're any of my clients. And if I threw you a ball and you caught it, and then I have another ball and I throw it to you, you can't catch the other ball until you drop the first one. And so many people, and I'm sure there's people in this room tonight, we're still holding on to something that we need to let go of. And what it does is it's like an energetic bungee cord. And it could have happened 20 years ago, it might have happened this morning. But the point is, if you're carrying that mental negative baggage today, then you're not operating at your full capacity. You're not going to bump into the right person at the right time, come up with the right idea. But you can, because it's there, but you gotta let go first. So let go, forgive, and be expectant. You know, I think the greatest thing of tonight, and I'm sure the rest of the speakers will highlight this, is if we can do it, anybody can do it. You only ever have to see someone else doing what you want to do, and you know, and I don't even believe that you have to see it, because that's not really faith. But to improve your life, you already know what to do. You already know even 1% how to do better. So before you even try to go after all the vision boards and all the fancy things, why not just say to yourself, this week I'm going to see the good in everything. I'm going to leave people feeling better off than when I first met them, which means give to people. See, if you want more money, here's the best way to attract it. Give more money. You want more patience from your kids? Give them more patience. If you want anything, be the source of it. It is always the easiest way. And I hope that that has shared some insight and wisdom with you tonight. It is my pleasure. And Gary, thank you so much.